All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the June 2024 Zoning Board of Appeals meeting, Town of Carmel. Board members' names are in front of you on the dais. We have Code Enforcement Officer Mike Carnazza with us tonight, as well as Town Attorney Greg Falchetti. The way we operate is I'll ask you to come up, I'll swear you in. Legal or counsel does not need to be sworn in. If anyone's going to speak, you need to be sworn in. If guests come up or anyone in the public wants to be heard, please sign your name, address, and email address on the paper on the podium. So we'll go through the case. We will ask the board members for questions or comments, and then we'll open it up to the public. Once a case is closed, there is no further input from the public or anybody out in the audience, so please bear that in mind. Will you all please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get started, we have a couple of holdover requests for number three. Number three, it looks like, right?
Number three,
Number three, TISHR LLC.
I'll make a motion, hold it over.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so if anyone's here for that application, it's going to be held over. And then secondly, for Nanetti,
And Natty.
which I lost that place,
Number five.
number 5.
Make a motion, hold it over.
All right, do I have a
Second.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so if anyone's here for that application, it's going to be held over. All right, that said, go back to the beginning of the agenda. We have
Number one.
we'll have 5 holdover cases from last month. So number 1, Robert Altiero. Mr. Besharat.
Good evening,
we have some good
everybody.
news. Good evening. State your name and address for the record.
William Besharat, 266 Sheer Hill Road, Mahopac.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right, can you give us some good news here?
Yes, we do, finally. I gave it to Greg, a copy just to familiarize himself with it. We finally have a signed and notarized agreement between the two neighbors on the easement to allow the garage to exist on the other property, which is owned by Del Duco.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you spell it out for us quick? I mean, is it a large document?
It's fairly large document, and we will submit it to the board as evidence because we just got it today. Greg, like I said, was reading it. It indicates the description of the property that's occupied by the garage plus a little bit more, about a foot in all direction, and there's a small little piece of a driveway on the side that's also included in that easement.
All right, so nothing's changed from the original application then, right? Because right
No,
now,
everything it stays exactly as is.
10-foot rear, 2-foot provided, 8-foot variance,
Correct.
25-foot front, 0 property line, so 25-foot variance.
Correct.
All that's
Yes,
staying the same.
that remains the same.
Greg, do we need time for you to review it before we approve
No,
this?
actually, I spoke to counsel for the grant earlier today, before I spoke to Mr. Besharat, and the easement appears to be in form, certainly in recordable form, and it appears to address the issue of the encroachment and the rights of the applicant to utilize that. So I'm satisfied with it.
Okay. I'll afford the opportunity for the public, well, board members first, anything new on this?
No further questions.
All right, and any input from the public on this application? I hope not. Okay. All in favor?
No, we gotta
sorry.
close the hearing first, and then we vote later. Mike,
Let me close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So, all right, we'll move on to the next one.
Thank you.
All right.
I got the next one,
Thanks,
too.
Willie. Number 2, Clark Place, for a variation of section 15615, seeking a use variance for permission to retain 2 apartments to exist in a commercial building in a commercial zone. Property is located at 2 Clark Place, Mahopac, and it's tax map 75.12-1-42. And this is you also, Willie?
Yes. This is a case, we were here last month, and because it's a use variance, we had to provide a statement to show the cash flow and the negative impact without the apartments on the feasibility of holding on to this piece of property. And we have submitted to the board a a statement showing the expenses, showing the expenses. I'm sure you have copies of it here. Good, all right. Showing the expenses and the benefits. I mean, it's in a positive cash flow with the apartments there, and how it goes down to a major negativity without the income of those two apartments. That's one item. The other item over here, which is I did not submit it to the board, it's a letter from the real estate showing the area and the demand on office real estate, what have you. I think I made enough copies, I hope. I think I made 6 or 7, so you might share.
We can share. We've been doing this a long time.
Oh, like you were out one.
Okay? Here you go. Thank you. So with that, that letter states that there is really no demand on office real estate rental. There's quite a few empty spaces in the town, as we all know that. We're familiar, we're all residents of the town. The third item that the board asks us to do is to do a little research and show compatibility with this project comparing to other commercial buildings that has residential in them. And I assure you, most buildings, we start with a trattoria, say 3 apartments about it, the old print shop, the Cola, has a few apartments in there, Route 6N, all these commercials underneath there had apartments upstairs, so, and go on and so on and so on. Really, this project is existing this way, and it's very compatible with the characteristics of the neighborhood. So it will not create any negative impact on anybody else.
All right, remind us, how long have the apartments been there? Almost
I would say every bit of 35 to 40 years.
that long, okay.
Yeah. Mr. Gilmore himself was living in there at one time.
Excuse me, guys, if you want to have a conversation, can you go outside, please? Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Gilmore lived in there, God only knows, a long, long time ago for a little while in one of the apartments. That's what he made, that he used to own the building. So as far as we know, and when the Krakos bought the building, they bought it this way with those apartments under the assumption that they were legal and CO'd, but surprise, surprise, it was not. And
Right.
that's why we're here.
Okay. Board members, any questions on this with any new information?
It's, you met the request, William, and for the bedrooms and
Yes,
the income for that, so.
Uh-huh.
I have no further questions.
It looks like you have a net of negative 41, almost 41.
Without them, and with them, we have a positive 6,600 a year, which is pretty decent return on investment.
Okay, Rose, anything?
No questions.
No.
Down here? Good?
No.
Anybody in the public have any comments or questions on this application? All right, I'll look for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Willie.
Enjoy the
Thanks,
rest of the
Willie.
weekend.
Number 3's a holdover.
This back-to-back papers threw me up.
I know,
I don't save the paper. Number 3 is held over.
Number 3's held over.
Aaron,
All right, application number 4, Aaron Cass, for variation of section 15615, seeking a variance for permission to subdivide a lot into 2 lots. Property is located at 90 Mexico Lane, Mahopac, New York. Tax map is 53.-2-17. So lot 1 area is 120,000, that's what the code requires. What's going to be provided is 67,933.65. So variance of over 52 square feet is required. Lot 2 area also requires 120 square feet. Over 64,000 square feet will be provided, so a variance of 55+ thousand square feet. And Lot 1 rear yard setback is 40 feet. 7.3 feet will exist, and a variance of 32.7 feet is being sought. All right, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Frank J. Smith III, project attorney on behalf of Mr. Aaron Cass. I'm joined tonight by Mr. Cass and also Mr. Paul Lynch, project engineer from Putnam Engineering, and Mr. Cass's family.
All right, Frank, can I just swear in Paul?
Oh, of course.
Paul, just state your name and address for the record.
Paul Lynch. My office is at 4 Old Route 6 in Brewster, New York.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and is the applicant going to speak as well? All right, I'll get him when he comes up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I'll just remind everybody, please speak concisely and clearly into the microphone. This is being recorded for minutes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Frank.
The applicant is Mr. Aaron Cass. The property is located at 90 Mexico Lane, Mahopac, New York. It is known as tax map number 53.2-17. It consists of just over 3 acres and is located in the town's residential zoning district. The applicant intends to subdivide the property into 2 lots. As part of the subdivision approval, 3 area variances are required. The first 2 are for minimum lot size. The town code requires residential building lot to be 3 acres or 120,000 square feet. Lot 1 is proposed to be 67,953.6 square feet, requiring a variance of 52,046.4 square feet. Lot 2 is proposed to be 64,486.8 square feet, requiring a variance of 55,531.2 square feet. Essentially, both lots will be 1.5 acres. The third variance is for setback of the existing residence that is located on the premises. The town code requires a 40-foot setback. The applicant provides 7.3 feet, requiring a variance of 32.7 feet. Again, this is to bring the existing residence into conformance. In support of the application, the board was provided with a memorandum of law, an applicant affidavit in support, and materials provided by our project engineer, Paul Lynch. A brief history. The applicant is a lifelong resident of Mahopac and a longstanding business owner in the town. He purchased the subject premises in 2013. Currently, it is occupied by his daughter and her husband, who are expecting their first child shortly. Miss Cass Mulry is also a lifelong resident of Mahopac, as well as a local business owner. She would like to raise her family in Mahopac just like she did. It is Mr. Cass's goal to subdivide the property in order to construct a new, larger, more modern home for his daughter's young family to move into. The subdivision application is currently pending before the Town of Carmel Planning Board, and we appear before you this evening by their referral. Before we discuss the area variance analysis, there are 2 items that I would like to address. First is to acknowledge that the entire Town of Carmel that is zoned residential is subject to a 3-acre minimum requirement. 3 acres is the minimum for every neighborhood from Lake Secor to the hamlet of Carmel. Most towns have different zoning districts with different dimensional requirements, but in Carmel, we do not. It's my opinion that a 3-acre zone is unreasonable. 1.5 acres is a large parcel and larger than a lot of the homes located in the town of Carmel. In advance of this presentation, I reviewed the Putnam County tax map. By that review, I tallied 31 residences that abut Mexico Lane. Of the 31, there are 11 homes on Mexico Lane that are under 1.5 acres. There are an additional 10 homes on Mexico Lane that are under 3 acres. Off of Winding Woods Court, directly behind the subject premises, there are 6 homes. Of those 6, all are under 3 acres, with 5 being 2 acres or less. The Stonewall Farms neighborhood across the street is also comprised of a majority of substandard lots. A home on 1.5 acres is not in contradiction of the neighborhood's character, and lots of this size are common. Second, I understand that there are a number of neighboring property owners who are here in opposition to this application. The applicant and I acknowledge this, and we are mindful of their concerns. With that said, I would respectfully request of the board, to the extent feasible, that the comments be limited to the variances at hand. The planning board has a rigorous subdivision and site plan approval process which deals with many of the concerns raised by neighboring property owners. Thank you. As the board is aware, there are 5 criteria to consider when determining an area variance. First, and most importantly, is whether granting the variance will result in an adverse impact to the neighborhood. Second is whether granting the variance will have an adverse impact to the surrounding environment. Third, whether the variance is substantial. Fourth, whether the need for variance can be obviated. And lastly, whether the difficulty was self-created. For the foregoing reasons, I contend that the relief requested should be granted. First, if granted, it would not change the character of the neighborhood. The property is located in a residential district, and the proposed use is a single-family residence. In addition, the majority of homes located on the road contain less than 3 acres. There are a significant number of homes that are 1.5 acres or less. Additionally, as it relates to the setback variance, the home in question requiring the variance is already in existence. The proposed use fits squarely within the character of the neighborhood, and if the variance is granted, would cause no adverse changes nor impacts. Second, if the variance is granted, it would not create an adverse impact to the surrounding environment. The topography of the lot makes it such that improving the existing residence would be of great difficulty. In addition, the planning board will be able to put their thumbprint on environmental concerns during the subdivision process. By turning the existing lot into 2, there would be no adverse change to the environment. Third is substantiality. In this instance, I argue that the variances are not substantial. As previously stated, a majority of the homes on the road are under the 3-acre requirement, and many are 1.5 acres or less. Fourth is whether the variance can be obviated. In this case, it cannot. As previously stated, Mr. Cass would like to build a more modern home for his daughter's family. There are challenges to improving the single-family residence that is in existence, and by approving the area variance would give them the opportunity to build a new house with modern services and amenities. Additionally, single-family inventory in town is very low. There are very few building lots available for sale, and the applicant is seeking to develop what he already owns. Lastly, in this case, the need for variance was self-created, with a caveat. We are here because the applicant seeks to subdivide the property into 2 smaller lots. Since the town has a 3-acre minimum zoning requirement, it's difficult to find suitable lots to build on that are not too small nor too large. The law also allows for variances, and what we are seeking is not unreasonable given the constraint of requiring a 3-acre minimum. In addition, it must be stressed that the courts in the state of New York have routinely ruled that, quote, a self-created hardship does not preclude the granting of an area variance, end quote. The applicant has followed the correct path with this project, applying through the planning board and keeping all boards and interested agencies apprised of his desire to develop the parcel. We are merely seeking dimensional relief to permit the subdivision. In conclusion, I contend that the applicant has met the 5 criteria of the area variance analysis and respectfully request that the relief be granted. I thank you for the opportunity to present. Myself, Mr. Cass, his family, and Mr. Lynch are available for any questions.
Okay, Paul, do you have anything to add?
Yes, if you don't mind, I'll walk you through the process.
Certainly.
This was the plan that we presented to the planning board, breaking the one overall lot into the 2 lots. We're coming off on this end of Mexico Lane, up by the turn, so I have adequate sight distance in both directions. And the existing house is in this location, and that's the driveway that comes off of that corner, and that stays the same. In doing our review, we looked at the tax maps. We looked at the general tax maps in this area. And first glance, you're going to see a lot of lots that are smaller, some lots that are bigger, and it's like, okay, there's got to be more to it than just what's a 1.5 acre lot. And you start to get deeper into it, and you see things like, what are the constraints? What's going on that, originally had this as a 1 acre lot back before the town had changed the zoning back in 2000. And one of the immediate things is with the subdivision that's located behind us, this is our lot that we're dividing into 2. This is the subdivision that's right behind Aaron's property. What's not accounted for when you look at these acreages is the fact that there's a common driveway that drives up and loops around to feed all these lots. Well, a common driveway it's within an easement. So technically, it's your land, but there's nothing you can do with that acreage. because there's a 17 and a half foot wide road there when you go from back of curb to back of curb. So all these lots in essence shrink in size. And for the majority, this becomes like a 2.38 acre, this becomes a 1.31 acre, this becomes a 1.33, a 1.30.
Not to mention they were approved without any frontage.
Correct.
In addition, okay.
Yeah, it was probably through a 280A application back whenever it was done,
I think it was open development.
open development. So immediately around us, we've got smaller lot sizes than what we're proposing with our 2 lots. Now, of course, we've got larger lots across the street, which gets you to the next step, which is a constraints map. And as you know, the town is currently looking at rezoning to rectify this one broad brush residential zone that exists now. But when you get into looking at constraints, this gives you a much better picture of what actually can you do with a piece of land. Anything you see in gray and this really dark gray, the light gray is a slope of 15 to 25%. The dark gray is over 25%. You're not going to be able to put a septic system or anything in anything that's light gray or gray. You've got a stream that runs down through here, comes down through, and it comes into a New York State DEC regulated wetland.
That's a New York State watershed or a federal wetland?
DEC, so yes, it qualifies under the DEC as well as federal.
Watershed's totally different thing.
Yeah.
City, New York City.
And then you would then have this 100-foot buffer that goes around the existing watershed. So if you were looking at this today, a lot of these large lots, if they were vacant land, would have quite a high crossbar to get over to be able to develop.
But the applicant has gray on his property,
Correct.
so he is constrained by watershed as well on his.
No,
No, it's not watershed.
no,
Or
that's slope.
water.
No, steep slope.
no, steep slopes. I've got a section of steep slopes that run through the middle, but in terms of my development, which we'll show you, is our driveway's coming in across here, and I laterally cut across the slope. So I've got a small cut, a little bit of fill for my driveway, and I'm now onto my flat part of the property.
So that's the reason for the backyard setback, because you have to get the
No,
house.
well, the backyard setback has to do with would deal with the existing house.
The existing house needs it.
Oh,
But
okay.
the new house doesn't need it.
The new house does not. The new house has got plenty of space to have a septic, have the house, have a backyard, have a side yard.
Does the new house, I mean, the existing house need it regardless of,
It needs it regardless.
okay. So then my question becomes, should we treat it separately as we're doing? No? Okay.
No, it's one application. You don't have to separate them out.
Okay.
Where would the
One
septic and well
subdivision.
be?
If they don't do the subdivision, they don't need the variance.
That was my question. Okay.
Yeah.
If they don't do
The only
sub-
reason they need the variance is because they're changing the lot,
Gotcha. Okay.
but not in that area.
Gotcha. Understood. Thank you. You answered my question.
So this is my area where I have a steep slope on my lot. So we just cross-cut and run diagonally across it. So we have a small cut up here, we have a little bit of fill here, and then we're out onto our flat plateau.
And what's the frontage you need? You have enough, obviously.
We obviously, we have the frontage, it's not an issue.
So
For us,
the lot
really,
size.
for us, it's just the
The only
acreage.
variance is the lot size, and it's not
And the setback.
any dissimilar to what's around.
Correct.
And existing.
Yes, it meets, when you look at the other lots, in terms of what other lots have for steep slopes
Plus
and.
and minus.
Yeah,
It's
it's pretty
within
well
the median.
balanced,
So where would the house be?
That's my question next.
right here.
Maintenance, you see that?
Right in there.
Right in here.
The existing house that's on the lot is here.
And
So
there's enough.
that's the one that needs the 30-something foot variance. But the new house would be up in this area.
So it doesn't need any side yard?
No.
Rear yard, front yard variances at all?
Not seeing the topos, Paul, is that a pump-up septic system, or
It will be, yes,
it will be, right?
yeah.
And, I mean, you'd have to get this past the
And
Board of Health, but
In terms of talking about the septic, when we did our initial testing, we were using the 150 gallons per day design rate. So that footprint is now shrunk because the health department recently changed to meet the state standard of 110 gallons per day. So it's basically a 30% reduction.
okay. All right, board members, any other questions, comments? Will, anything?
Can the neighbors see the house once it will be built? Will it impact people's views or visual?
I don't think so, because we have no plans to do any disturbance down through here. So the only time you would see the
Well, I
house is
mean,
if you
where
were
you're
driving
pointing is
down and
across
you
the
look
street.
left.
How about behind them? Because it's a slope, right?
They would have a view because you're going to clear the trees, so yes. I mean, you may go back and replant trees just for
Is
your
there
own, wanting to have some
significant tree
landscaping.
removal?
Excuse me?
Is there significant tree removal to build the driveway and the house?
Yeah, well, just speak into the mic, all right?
Is there significant tree removal to build the house and the driveway?
And the septic.
How do you define significant, significant?
More than
Are you
6
clearing the
trees.
lot? Like
More than
what's
6 trees?
More than 6, yeah.
Yes, yes.
Which is not uncharacteristic of.
No.
Of a developed piece of
So,
property.
so you are clearing the lot, or you're?
No, we're just, we would be clearing
Just
to
clearing out for the septic and for the house.
the house and the yardage around it.
Good. Julie, any questions?
No
Celia?
questions.
Where's the existing septic? I'm not seeing it on the plan. Just curious, because I want to make sure it's on the right lot.
The existing septic is over in this area.
Near the driveway?
Yes,
Okay. Again, I wanted to make sure if we're splitting it, it's.
no, yes, the septic and well for the original house are
On its lot.
on its lot,
I'm
yes.
good.
Okay, you guys good down here?
No, I have a question. How far is the houses behind these lots? If you build that house where you intend to build it, how far is the house behind it?
Like on the Shilio property, is that a residence there?
Probably about 190 feet. And I'm just, I don't actually show the house here, but I'm just basing it off of the topography, where it's just shown as a big plateau, which looks like be where the house would be.
He's 75 feet from his own property line,
75 feet from the
towards
zone.
Shilio, and I'm sorry if I'm not saying the name right.
So topography-wise, that Shilio house,
They're uphill,
they're uphill.
Yes.
So they look down into
yes.
that. So they shouldn't have an issue with drainage?
No.
They're higher?
No. Water flows downhill.
That's,
But I'm assuming you're putting in, I mean, that's under the planning board's purview,
Yeah.
but you'd be putting in drainage and whatever else is necessary to
Yeah, there'd be
prevent
no,
erosion and
Yes.
clear out of, heavy rainwater.
so is, and Lagan?
Yeah, there's a Lagan there, Lagan. And Shillo.
How far is
Can you
Lagan?
guys use the microphone? It's really hard to hear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Probably
Yeah,
'cause
Lagan
she's
is
running.
to the north.
okay,
northeast.
Lagan's up here, okay, and that's Shilio, okay.
And they're uphill as well?
Yes,
Okay?
Oh, no, I appreciate the thorough background and the explanation of the family, their considerations, and how you defined everything. They say it's not substantial. It appears to be substantial on paper. The lot area and the variance required under the standards now. So I know there's opposition from many neighbors.
All right, with that, I'm going to open it up to the public unless you're all set, Frank. Paul?
I have
Apply.
one more quick question. This lot here, is that gonna have the drainage? Is that lot gonna, does it go downhill over here?
No, that drains right to Mexico Lane. No,
Okay.
that's this lot over here. So it's downhill straight to Mexico Lane. And actually, I was out on Mexico Lane recently, and I saw that the Town of Carmel Highway Department is making drainage improvements. So they're dealing with pre-existing drainage issues now, which is good timing.
Okay, you all set, Rose?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to open it up to the public. Please come up one at a time. State your name and address. Speak clearly into the microphone. Write your name, address, and phone number when you leave the podium on the piece of paper there.
I'm married to her. Can I go with her?
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Unless you want to get divorced. I mean,
Advisable.
Well, she didn't answer that question.
I noticed that.
Just saying.
Turn off the mic for a couple of minutes. She didn't put my name on the thing. Wait a minute.
Good luck, sir.
All right.
Thank you for your time.
of course.
Danette Granger, 89 Mexico Lane.
All right, can you state your name also, sir?
Christopher Granger, right now, 89 Mexico Lane.
All right. So raise your right hands. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thanks. You don't have to do that now. When you leave the podium, you can put your name and address down. Go ahead.
I'm nervous, I forget.
The floor is yours.
All right. Mahopac Zoning Board. We as neighbors would like to express concern over the proposed subdivision proposal 490 Mexico Lane, the Cass subdivision. We have looked closely at the documents submitted to the town as well as attended the previous planning board meeting in February of this year. These are our concerns: the proximity to watershed, the drainage issues, changes to the landscape, construction on soil movement, septic proximity to other homes and streams, continued precedence to subdivide lots, and the topography is not conducive to a new residence. The paperwork submitted has been unclear as to where the watershed is actually located. There are clearly two sources of water from either direction that do funnel into the holding area near the town grate, and we understand that is being addressed currently. After a period of no rain or snow before this happened, there is usually a consistent stream flow that borders the road from the existing main driveway into the next residence. This stream often overflows and it goes across the road during storms. Any additional driveway would need an extremely robust bridge structure to cross that stream that is up the hill. Any septic would most probably be near this active stream. We do see that the town is working on the grates and pipes and replacing these throughout Mexico Lane. I don't know if there's any other plan for water mitigation from the town along that stream side. We have previously had the Eagle's Nest development that caused months and months of drilling and sound pollution, as well as implementing a dangerous switchback road and adding a long line of unsightly garbage cans lining Mexico Lane. It was done poorly. It continues to be an eyesore. Overdevelopment of residential areas is a concern for many reasons. This subdivision proposal has very little room for a safe plan for the driveway, septic disposal, and the house foundation on a moving wet hill. Among these concerns is the concern for precedence among other homeowners in other areas in Mahopac to continue this trend of subdivision. It changes our landscape and way of life. When we attended the February meeting and the question was posed for the purpose of this land subdivision, it was stated that it was to build and sell. We respectfully ask that subdivisions be extremely rare instances in Mahopac, as this area does not want to have further infrastructure problems that arise from overdevelopment. It is a beautiful area, and concern for homeowners that will be affected by this construction, and we believe it is not appropriate, and it can cause future harm to the existing residents and the environment. Please support the denial of the planning board to continue with the subdivision proposal.
I'm gonna give you a kiss on that one. All right, she's more organized than I am. I hear them talking about tax maps. I hear them talking about, forgive me, and I'm an audio engineer, you think I would know. I hear about tax maps. I hear about locations. What I don't hear about is these people who live right there,
right where this is going to happen. Us, we're across the street, but they are right there. Okay, this new septic system, you can't figure out, you guys are all talking about this map because they're jamming it in there. That's why it's so hard to decipher what to do. This is, I'm not an architect and I'm not an engineer. This is all ledge rock. It's a cliff. We've been there for 14 years. We love it. But I walk the dog every night and I hear water. Even we've had a rainy season, but other seasons, there's still always water coming down that hill. And there's 2 drains on that property. There's one right across from us, and there's one right across from our neighbor. There's a lot of water on that property. There's just, I don't understand how they're going to be able to do this and prevent, I don't even know what to call it. Seepage, leakage, I don't know. Their septic system is going to be close to them. And tonight, he didn't have answers for you as to how far their houses are from this. So how can this possibly get approved if we don't know how this is going to affect the way of life and the living for these people and for us, but really for them too, right? He did not have answers, okay? That's a problem. This is something that's going to be there for a long time, okay? And once it's done, it can't really get undone. So we're concerned that they haven't really answered your questions. Council made a statement about how it's hard to find areas in Mahopac to do this stuff. So why are you trying to jam it into a property that clearly you're forcing this? You're trying to make this work. Eagle Hill is a disaster. It looks like Co-op City. It does. Drive by right now, and you'll see garbage cans flipped over on their side, recycling, and the trash can. It's a mess, okay? They haven't finished building construction. So as a result, I'm telling you, they took out a whole side of a mountain. It's very upsetting. Okay. Council mentioned Stonewall and Winding Wood. Those are cul-de-sacs off of Mexico Lane. They're not on Mexico Lane. Okay, so I don't know what variances they came up with there, but that's not Mexico Lane. If you were to do something like that on Mexico Lane, you would have quarter acre. Now we're in Lower Westchester. We didn't move here to be living in Lower Westchester. We came here for some space, for some breathing room. We're fortunate to have some acreage. But when you start breaking these rules that were made by other people, we get Eagle Hill, and we get things that are even worse. And that's what our concern is. They're trying to jam this in. It's going to affect the water. DEC is right there. We deal with it. Our stream is right by the house, and that goes into a stream, which goes into a pond. Their property is right up that hill, and that water drains through a stream to our stream, which goes to the pond, which is all DEC. Have they done any sort of study? Has DEC, do they even know what's going on, that these people want to build this project? What else? The comment won't be seen. Of course it's going to be seen. These guys are going to be they're going to be looking out their window at these people in their kitchen. That's how close it is, okay? He couldn't answer that question either, because that's how close it is. Anything inconvenient, suddenly, we didn't check it. And I'm not blaming anybody. I have most respect for the owner and council, but there are people who are going to be living with this. There were rules, and I'm going to speak a little out of turn. I believe the planning board did not approve this, right? Because we went to those meetings as well, and they could not approve this.
Well, so just to educate you how it works,
Yep.
right? Planning board cannot approve it unless we provide relief for the setbacks. This is all this board does, is talk about how the land is divided and how it's used. That's the only power we really have, right? Area variance, that's what's here.
Yep.
A majority of what you guys brought up, unfortunately, is not a zoning issue, it's a planning issue.
Exactly.
So-
Those are issues that are going to be
Right, and
controlled by the
that
planning
needs to be
board.
addressed by the planning. So the initial reaction is because they need the relief. So they have to come here to get the relief for the size of the land. That's all we deal with. So that's why I'm just trying to educate you here, to help you out. But a majority of what you brought up thus far, really, and even we asked the questions too to help the planning board along, but those are really planning questions, not zoning questions. We have in front of us dictated 5 criteria, and that's it. It's not objective, it's not subjective, it's very objective with
Well,
interpretation.
there's things like within the character of the
Right.
neighborhood, which is this, in my opinion, is not out of character for the size of the lots that are there.
Correct, but there's other things going on about substantiality, for example, which it is substantial, at least in my mind, right? So that's what this board has to contend with, but a lot of the water issues, the site issues and such, that has to go back to planning. So make sure that you keep going back to planning. If we reject the area variances tonight, it's done. And it goes back to planning, they have to figure out another way to do this.
Right.
If we accept it, it goes back to planning anyway. Nothing changes, because planning still has to approve it. ECB may have to get involved as well.
Well, that was
So-
my question with ECB,
I
because we
was
dealt
gonna
with them a
Most
few years ago
likely.
about some trees
Most-
as well.
But that's not the board, this board's call.
This can
Understand.
get approved here, approved at planning board, and they'll go for Board of Health. If Board of Health doesn't allow this, everything is different today.
Right.
When your house was built, and probably a whole different set of conditions.
1860.
These are new, modern, up-to-date conditions that are meant to protect people like you and neighbors and whatnot. The conditions are more stringent than, so without approval from Board of Health, this will go nowhere, even if it goes past all the.
Allow me to
both of the
suggest
boards.
that the properties that are coming down Mexico Lane by 90 and by our house at 89 are bigger than 1.5 acres. Okay, all those properties coming down that hill are bigger, every single one,
Well,
going to
see, I
Stonewall.
also asked a question about drainage, right? So that's something the planning board is going to have to mandate. If something's going to affect, they have to put a curtain drain in. If water is going to naturally create a ponding or
Right.
erosion
As
of
it is
some
now,
sort.
it's a very wet property. And, I mean, the town is in there right now making those improvements, which of course, we're grateful for. But that's another example. They're doing that because of what's going on that property, because it's as wet as it is. It's a marsh.
I'm sure they know that. They wouldn't, you know.
No question they do, but
Especially
I'm
if
just,
it's for the family, they're going to want to put every control in possible to protect themselves as well as their neighbors.
right.
So, all right,
Well,
you guys,
we-
I think we have other people here in fairness to,
Absolutely.
other
We
folks.
appreciate the time. So just so I understand, the reason for this board, because I believe all these boards are supposed to help us, right? The people of
Oh, yes.
Mahopac?
Provide
So-
relief.
Provide relief.
you had it right.
So why would this board not care necessarily about what we're saying?
We're not caring about.
It's not that
what
we're
we
not
see.
caring,
We
it's
are
that
caring.
what you're.
I don't understand, forgive me.
No,
Speak
so
correct.
this board is only empowered to grant an area variance, meaning the usage of the lot, the setback of the house, the size of the lot. That's all we're allowed to do. The water and everything else sort of doesn't really belong here, it belongs in planning.
I'm going to read this for everyone's benefit, and council did earlier, but an area variance, all the following must be taken into consideration. Doesn't mean every variable has to be met. I mean, the majority of them have to be met. So one is, will an undesirable change to the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties be created by granting of the variance? Number two, can any other method be used that does not require variance but still allows for the benefit requested? Number three, is proposed variance substantial? Number four, will the proposed variance have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district? And number five, is the alleged difficulty self-created? Now, I know council responded to each one of those with what his answer was. I'm not going to rehash it. So, but those are the items that Silvio was talking about.
Right, that's our
are in front
criteria.
of
That's
us.
the only thing we can do. We can't do anything else.
Okay.
Because then we'll get sued, we'll lose, and life goes on.
So this will get kicked back to the planning board?
It'll get
Oh,
kicked back, yeah.
This is in front of us now because the planning board reviewed it and realized they need a variance for this
Right.
to, so
So
that's why
even
it's
if, so if
in
it gets
front of
approved
us.
tonight, it's not approved. It goes back to planning.
Right.
They have to continue to deal with it. And it may show up again here as planning negotiates things as well.
And of
So,
course, you have the right to be heard.
right.
and-
But you
and
100%
whatever
have the right
position
to
you
be
have.
heard, and you should be
I
heard.
just don't want to go to the wrong place and waste your time.
No, you didn't.
All right. Hopefully, other neighbors will be as eloquent as my wife was.
Well, I'll just remind the neighbors, let's keep it to the same point, right? If it's going to be a rehash of what you spoke about. It looked like the similar theme was in all three of the letters that we received. So I'm going to ask the neighbors to be cognizant of that, and let's keep it short.
All right, thank you for your time.
All right,
And-
thank you.
And just let the record show was
Just write your name, your.
My wife
if-
is.
Okay.
Mr. and Mrs. Shillo, Mr. and Mrs. Diamond, and who is the third? Laura.
All right, folks, anybody want to come up? Sir? Oh, okay.
He's going out.
Anyone else?
Okay,
All right, you kind of spoke for all, they spoke for all of you?
you guys all good?
All right, I'll forward
Lara was the other one.
counsel to.
No, he's good, he's coming up.
Oh, he's coming up? Okay.
And they signed it, right?
So 6-1, that doesn't.
I guess I haven't seen.
All right, I'm going to ask your name and address for the record. Please speak clearly into the mic, or you can grab the hand mic on the
I can
podium.
do that, Mike. Karaoke.
You got to speak
It's
into it.
Carl Shillio, 25 Windingwood Court.
All right, now switch hands and raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Okay, I'm not sure why they mentioned 25 Windingwood Court.
You got to speak into the mic, sir.
I'm not sure why they mentioned 25 Windingwood Court about the road and everything, that development. But all that was approved years ago, so I'm not sure about that. But I haven't seen the plans for this yet. I'd like to know the wall that separates our property. Exactly how far in does that house start? Over there is my septic, okay? My property slopes. Is that going to become an issue if they build on their property? Is someone going to come to me later on and say,
Are
I
you
have
uphill
to-
from them?
Which one are you again,
You're
sir?
uphill or downhill?
Shillio.
Shillio,
Shilley.
Hey.
Oh, you're Shilley, okay.
Right.
So you're behind.
right.
Got it.
To the east.
You're
Okay, so I'm above them, and that property slopes. Is someone gonna come to tell me if water's running down that way, that I have to divert that water in some way?
No, I think
Is
this
that
burden
gonna-
would be on them taking this property on
Okay,
and
does my
everything that goes
septic-
with it.
Does my septic being there be an issue?
If it was built right and approved by the Board of Health, I would hope not, because
Well, my
it would be a
septic-
problem now if
There's
it
nothing
was.
with my septic, but does that become a problem for them if they build?
That's their problem.
I don't have an answer to that because it's not created
It's
yet.
engineering.
but,
I
I mean,
just don't wanna
Paul,
be
if you want to
liable
help
for any
respond
of
with your
those issues.
expertise? Right.
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay. And the other thing is the environment, the trees and everything that they're gonna take down. You're gonna take down for septic, depending on how many bedrooms is the size of your septic.
He
And
mentioned
then-
it was
and then-
made smaller.
And then
the
there's
footprint was made smaller.
expansion for that as well.
Most
So,
septic
I
systems,
just
yes.
want to go back a little bit. I came before the board several years ago, because when Hickenbaum was still there, before Cass bought that property, and a friend of mine was a real estate person, and we just asked what our house would be worth, and they said it'd be worth more, except it was for Hickenbaum. He had an old trailer there, house camper on blocks. He had an old pickup truck that didn't run, had a lot of garbage on his property. Unfortunately, he passed away, and all that was taken away. But before that, I came to this board, and I asked, I wanted to put a fence there, about 125 foot long, to hide that mess that was there. And the board gave me such a hard time. They told me about environment. They wanted me to put trees there, not a fence, and this and that. Now you're
Which
gonna-
board was this? Planning board?
This board right
Zoning
here.
board?
I don't know who the people were.
How long ago?
But it was a while back.
I've been on this board for 20-plus years, and I
Well,
don't
then you
recall
were
this coming
here.
through.
Then you were here. It was approved, but insisted that I put trees there and not a fence. Now you're gonna take down all these trees and leave it open. So what happened to the environment? It was a big thing back then, but now it's
Let
not
me
a
ask you something.
concern.
What happened to the environment when your house was built, and the neighbor's house was built,
not
and
the
this house was built?
that's
It is a
not-
point.
No, it's not.
It's the point.
The point
Because
is, I came to you.
It's not out of control or out of character of the neighborhood and the size of it. And that's what we're dealing with right
I came
now.
to you to put a fence up, and you insisted that I put trees and not a fence. Now you're saying it's okay to knock down all these trees. I don't understand the reality of that.
I don't know the case. I don't recall the case. If it was 20 years ago, I couldn't remember what I did a
It
year ago.
wasn't 20 years ago.
Well, whatever it was. So if, you're going to throw that out there, bring up the case and show us. So aside from that, if you have anything else to
Well, you could look it
offer.
up. I have permission to put a fence there if I wanted to, but after all that was cleaned up, there was no need to.
Okay, then it's a moot point, right?
No, it's not a moot point. The point is, you insisted that I put trees there because of the environment, and now you're taking down
Ma'am,
all
if you're
these
going to speak, you
trees.
have to come up and be heard and sworn in. So you can't speak from the seat. Enough. All right, what else?
I guess that's pretty much it at this point.
Okay.
All right?
Put your name and address and your email
It's
address.
already done.
All right, thanks. Anybody else wish to be heard on this application? Frank, do you want to respond to anything at this point? All right, you're the applicant?
Yes.
You don't have to put your name, you're on there already. Just state your name and address for the record. You're both going to be speaking?
Sure.
Sir, if you don't behave, I'm going to ask you to be removed. Okay? I heard the profanities, and that's not warranted for this board. Okay? If you can't behave yourself, I'm going to call the police up here and have you removed. Would you like that? Thank you. Sorry.
That's okay. My name's Rachel Cass. I'm the daughter of Aaron Cass, and I'm at 90 Mexico Lane.
All right, you
And
going to be
this-
speaking as well?
Yes, I'm her husband, Jonathan Mulry.
All right, raise your right hands. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes,
Thank you.
I do. All right. Thank you all for taking the time to be here and help navigate the process of changing the zoning for 90 Mexico Lane. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Rachel Cass Mulry. I grew up in Mahopac, attended Fulmer Road Elementary School, Mahopac Middle School, and graduated Mahopac High School. Mahopac has prepared me to pursue my dreams as a speech-language pathologist and help kids with special needs within our community. In the past 7 years of my career, I built a successful business, Westchester Putnam Therateam, based out of Mahopac on Route 6. It employs over 160 different kinds of therapists to help children and families within our community navigate developmental delays through speech therapy, occupational therapy, physical therapy, and more. It has always been my dream to raise my family in the same great community that I grew up in. The property we are currently living in at 90 Mexico Lane has served me very well as a single female for the past 9 years. I always felt safe and secure in my community. However, as you have heard, I now stand here newly married, and in October we will be joined by a baby boy. The 90 Mexico Lane property is not set up properly to grow with children. The driveway is treacherous. I could not imagine my son and future children walking up and down the driveway to catch the bus. There is the sloping land that would lead straight into the road and no room to flatten it for a backyard, a pool, a swing set, anything. The other acre of land on 90 Mexico Lane sits on would be much better suited for building a house that I could raise my family in, with a backyard, a safe driveway. I appreciate your consideration and look forward to hearing your decision. Thank you.
Is that all you guys have? All right, Frank, do you have anything in closing or to respond to any of the?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of quick things. I'll be very, very brief. First, I wanted to bring it to the board's attention. It is my understanding that prior to the zone change in the year 2000, that this area was zoned as 1.5 acre minimum. I think the 3 acre zone is unreasonable. I think others may think it's exclusionary. So that's a question for somebody else on a different day. Beyond that point, whether you're on Mexico Lane or off Mexico Lane in a subdivision, you're still subject to a 3 acre minimum zone. That's what the code is, and that's why we're here for relief this evening. In regards to the visuals and the cutting down trees, there is nothing to prevent my client from cutting down the trees without seeking this board's permission. If he wanted to construct an accessory building, a garage, for example, he could absolutely apply to the building department, and if there was no dimensional relief or use relief needed, he wouldn't be before the board. So I do understand the neighbor's concerns, but at the same time, it's my client's property, and he can do with it as he sees fit within the letter of the law and within Mr. Carnaz's opinion. Lastly, as it relates to the septic system, we are in 2024. This is going to be a brand-new septic system. I can't attest to the year at which the 1800s house had a septic system put in place, or some of the other houses in the area, but this will be a completely modern, compliant system, subject to planning board citing, and then Putnam County Board of Health approval. So that's all I have, unless the board has
Just
any
on that
additional
note,
questions.
and Paul, your opinion, does bank run have to be brought in for this? I mean, you have a preliminary
No,
design.
actually, when I first was asked to look at the land, the first thing I wanted to do was do deep tests and some perk tests. Because if it was bad soil, we wouldn't be here tonight.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we did our deeps, we did our perks, sandy loam, it's actually gorgeous soil to work with.
Perfect for a septic system?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks for adding that.
Here's
Go ahead.
something, Paul, I have the map here, and I think I've circled all of the properties that are less than this,
1.5 acres.
less than the 1.5 acres. So if this, I assume that it loops around here?
The road, that driveway, Winding Ridge, I think that's what the name of it, comes right up along the property line, and then loops around here to come back and button hooks back into this lot.
So these, this
Four.
acreage includes that road,
Correct,
correct?
correct,
Share that driveway.
yes,
They will share that driveway.
Yeah.
So,
And with no frontage, like I mentioned
Correct.
earlier.
right, with no frontage. So where is the Granger property? Is it
The
this
the
one?
Granger property is this down at the bottom of the hill, which I'll show you for this. I think, was it
for the
1880? When was it built? 18 what? The Granger home would probably be right about where that Y is.
Okay.
So their septic system and well and everything is, in today's standards, is within the control zone. There wouldn't be a septic system there. There wouldn't be a well there. There
But
wouldn't
it's
be a house there.
Pre-existing,
Yes,
obviously.
it's pre-existing.
Okay, and the Shilio property is 1.4 acres, and the Lagan, no, I'm sorry, 1.39 acres, and the Lagan property is 1.48? Is that correct? Am I reading that right?
Yes, if that's,
Yeah, so some of the lots are bigger, some of the lots are smaller, so it's not,
And then
essentially
you
not
would-
out of
It's a
character.
character question.
So the the three properties most affected, all are gonna be within that same
And smaller.
acreage.
correct, they have
Or
that, because of the road, if you subtracted out the fact that there's a road on their property,
It's
a-
even
a
smaller.
It's a smaller lot.
So this, if we subdivide here, these properties are actually smaller than what's
Correct,
proposed.
correct.
So the 6 lots that are on Winding Woods Court are roughly 1.4, 1.4, 1.4, 1.7, 2, and 2.4 acres respectively, and that's not considering the private road.
Okay. All right, I'm going to look for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
guys.
Chairman. Have a nice night.
All right, application number 5
Held over.
is held over. Application number 6, Paula Negri for a variation of section 156-15, seeking a use variance for permission to retain existing tent storage structure on a lot without a principal use. The property is located at 101 Drewville Road, Carmel, New York, and is tax map 65.8-1-6. The code requires or allows a 40-foot front, and what's provided is 26, so a variance of 14 feet is sought. For the front, what's required is 40 foot on Crafts Road. What's provided is 21 feet, and a variance of 19 feet is being sought. And then a side variance of 20 feet is what the code requires. What's being provided, or what's provided is 16 feet, and a variance of 4 feet is being sought. All right, good evening, folks. State your name and address for the record.
Hi, it's Paula Negri.
You guys can turn the mic down, please. And sir, if you want to grab the handheld, if you're both going to speak. Go ahead, state your
Hi,
name.
it's Paula Negri, 11 Crafts Road.
I'm Ramo Lisi. I thought I signed the paper that everything was in my name, but
Okay, it's probably in here. Both raise your right hands. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
I do.
All right, thank you. Ma'am, you could turn that down.
I can't really turn it up.
Oh, there you go.
Thanks.
Yeah, turn,
Or you can
do
take it
that.
off.
That works too.
There we go.
All right, so you guys, it's there existing, right?
Yes.
And you didn't know you needed a variance?
Nope.
Or a permit, or what have you?
It's a portable tent. It had no flooring in it, so I didn't think it needed a variance.
Okay. How did this come up? Did someone,
The barn,
Got
if you
signs.
remember, a couple of years ago, we had a barn that burnt down.
yes, I did hear about that.
So instead of putting a new barn up, we just put the tent up.
In a different
We could,
spot.
yeah, we couldn't afford to rebuild the barn.
Okay. So you got cited from
Yeah, we got it,
Dennis? Okay.
yeah.
It's kind of a tough one because, it's like a structure, but it's not a permanent structure, right? So it's, somewhat of an eyesore because it's not a structure, it's just a tent. So obviously there's some people are going to have some concerns about this. Mike, they would need a permit for the tent also, right?
Agreed,
So-
yes.
So that's why you guys
Are
are
there
in front
people
of us.
here with concerns, or?
We received one letter.
Yes,
Okay, one letter?
I believe so.
yes. You got a letter here from, I don't want to mess this up, Kusinskis?
Don't know.
Kusinskis?
Rita and
I don't
Axel
know them.
Kusinski.
77 Drewville Road.
Are you out here?
Yeah, we don't
No,
know.
it's not
they
near
here?
us.
Okay.
We're at 11, they're at 77.
No, it's 100 Drewville Road is the address for that, yeah.
Okay.
All right, so I have their letter right here. It says, "We reside at 7070 Drewville Road, Carmel, neighboring 101 Drewville. Recently received a legal notice for variance application from Paul Negri requesting permission to retain an existing tent storage structure on lot without a principal use. This is a residential area. The tent structure and the entire lot in the general give the appearance of a commercial lot rather than a residential property. We take pride in our neighborhood's appearance. This variance, as requested, would negatively impact the aesthetic appearance of our residential neighborhood. Thank you in advance for your consideration and cooperation on this issue." I can kind of see what they're talking about. It looks almost like a landscaper's yard with, where they would store their
Well, that's why
mowers
there's a
and
tent there, to
equipment.
keep everything inside clean and neat.
Right. Not only that, but there are, not on Drewville Road where we live, but further down, there is another tent on somebody's property, exact same tent.
Really?
Yeah.
Can I ask, was the structure insured when you had a fire? Wouldn't they replace it for the cost of the value of it?
The cost was still not enough to build a barn.
Not even close with what was happening in 2020 with the,
With the
wood was,
cost of wood, it was right after COVID, wood was very expensive, we couldn't afford it.
it was quadruple the cost.
It sounds like you might have needed a better insurance policy because,
No, my
insurance
insurance
policies
policy,
should.
no, my insurance policy gave us the barn was 200 years old.
Right.
The barn was 200 years old, and
So
for
was
us-
there a foundation?
The barn had
The
a,
barn,
I
yes.
don't remember.
there was no real foundation for the barn. The barn was built, yeah.
was-
Right on rubble.
So there's the existing pavement that somebody must have, foundation that somebody must have put in after it was built is still there, that where the barn fell down on.
Right, but the tent is not,
So there was-
is completely on the other side of the lot, where there is some shrubbery that is kind of off into the corner, not right out in the open where the barn was.
So we went from a 200-year-old falling down dilapidated shed to a nice, neat, brand-new portable tent that we keep everything inside and the property is neat.
I don't think everything's put away. Yesterday, I was out there. There was a trailer, a roll-off dumpster, and a snowplow. So everything was not put away.
Well, is that illegal to have a roll-off trailer? Because if I go down the road, I have a tile company with his whole lot, his whole truck fleet out in his driveway, literally a mile down the road. So this is nothing new in this town of Mahopac. There's people with their equipment in practically, half the homes. People run their businesses, they,
Well,
cost
they
money in this
shouldn't
town.
Well, the
I mean, I could take pictures for you and show you the tile guy. It's right around the corner. There's a tent. My same tent is not even a mile down the road.
If the
And it's
tent-
worn out. This is
If the
brand
tent
new.
meets the setback requirements, it can get a building permit.
That's right.
So I don't know which tent you're talking about, so I'm not trying to talk out of turn. But if it was issued a permit because it's in the right spot, they don't need to come to this board.
That's right.
Also, is there a primary use? Where the tent, we suspect is there a house there?
There's a
it's
house
not-
across the street. My house is across the street.
No, no, but
from
I'm
the lot.
saying the one that you're bringing up.
Oh, the one-
Do they have a house on that property?
There's a house on the lot,
The
yeah.
house on the lot, and the
Then
tent
that
is
changes the
right on
game as
road.
well. Okay.
So your
Just so
house
you
is
know.
not on the parcel where this
No.
is?
It's across the
No,
street,
it's across
correct?
the
No,
street.
that's
It's a
why
separate
here's a use
parcel.
variance.
Right.
But we already had a parcel there that burned down.
Right.
So the only thing we're allowed to do is rebuild a barn there
How long ago was that?
in 21.
Because if there is a,
If it doesn't exist after a year, right?
after a year, if you don't rebuild after a
Well,
year,
you
you
have to
use
get at least a
that.
permit to rebuild, correct? Within a year?
No, that's
Mike?
for use. That's if
Oh,
it's an
use, okay.
illegal use, expires after 1 year, non-conforming use.
So basically, I do have a lawn maintenance business, as you say, and I'm trying to keep most of my equipment inside, but I do have a dump trailer. There should be no problem with me keeping that trailer there on the side. My immediate neighbor right there has no problem with it. He's not the one. The person that's complaining, they can't even see the tent.
I could see it very clearly on
No,
the
I
backside.
think he means they can't see it from their house.
I drove on Craft Road and it was really obvious.
It's right there.
Right there, you can't miss it.
Could you not have put it in the same footprint the barn was at? Is-
I could do that, yeah.
It would be even more exposed.
It would
Mike,
be
would
even
that-
more out in the open. We
Would that
tried to
make more
hide it.
sense because it's kind of a pre-existing location? It
It
wouldn't,
wouldn't change anything.
Right.
because it's a new
Only if
structure.
they
and it-
rebuilt the old structure.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the only way that they would need to stay in that footprint.
Because
They
it was
would
a
need
pre-existing
variance at that point,
non-conforming.
correct.
So if I stay in that same footprint with the tent, like,
It's not the same structure.
No.
That's the
Right, it's not the
problem.
same.
Not the same
But
structure.
Lewiston would be the same structure, except to build a new barn, which we can't afford to do.
Doesn't something lose its nonconformity if it's not rebuilt in a year?
Only use.
Use.
So if you had a
Is there-
McDonald's in a residential zone and it burned down, if it's not rebuilt after a year, it's gone.
This is commercial use.
No,
No, it's residential.
it's residential. It's an extension of residential use. The reason why it's in front of us is because there's no primary structure on the property.
It's on a separate lot. The island of Crafts Road and Drewville, I guess.
Yeah,
Right.
there's- we have-
That's a separate lot from the house lot.
it was
Right.
bought together, but it was actually two separate
two
parcels
separate
for whatever reason, we pay
Two
separate
different tax
taxes on it.
parcels.
But it was bought as a unit.
Right.
But a separate parcel.
But a separate
separate
parcel.
parcel, yeah.
So there's, our house is on Crafts, and then,
It's right in
It's
front of
right
our house,
across
but
the
there's
street.
a road that separates.
and then from there, it's Truville.
It's not the same lot, though. It's two
No.
different lots.
And there are other houses on that island that we call,
Right.
between Drewville and Crafts.
Correct.
So is there any other property you can buy to bring this into conformance?
Is there, I'm sorry.
Is there any property you can purchase to bring it into conformance? No, you're kind of
No,
landlocked, right?
there's nothing, no.
Extension of non-conforming use.
Can this be moved so you would not require or minimize the variances that are being sought here?
I can only put it on the other footprint where the barn was. It's about the same, you know, it's 22 by 22, that's what the barn was, more or less. I can put it on that same footprint.
That would actually, it looks like, based on this, may actually increase the variances.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. I said, based on that, I think you would actually be asking for more.
If I went into the
Exactly.
same footprint.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So this is a use variance.
Yeah.
So we,
Because there's no principal on the lot.
so do we use the use variance standards?
That's if you decide it's
Unless
an
we say
expansion
it's
of the.
not an expansion of a non-conforming use,
I
which
think-
we've been doing lately.
But I think this is an expansion, in my estimation. This is an expansion of a use. This isn't somebody putting,
The barn housed everything that we have in that,
That's where we put all our stuff.
And that-
It was 3 stories.
right.
right now, you've got a lot of stuff hanging out in a residential
I
area.
have a trailer
So
hanging
that's-
out.
okay,
A trailer, not a lot of stuff, just a trailer.
No, you have a roll-off,
That's my trailer, a roll-off trailer.
and you had something else.
There's my trailers. I run a lawn maintenance
They're
business.
not allowed to have, you know,
I mean, I can't have my
Lawn
stuff in
equipment.
my yard, my plow.
A snowplow, a roll-off
Yeah,
dumpster,
is that
and
illegal?
a trailer.
Since when is that illegal, though? I pay taxes on the property. Lots of them.
I mean, the property's too small to really build, I can't build a house on it.
No, we actually
need
was
9
approved.
acres,
The
so-
house,
I don't think
No,
it's,
the barn,
I'm only one person.
right, so, but I'm saying, like, so that land, it had a barn for storage, right?
Right.
So now, if we can't put the tent on it, so you're telling me that I have to build a new barn on it, or that land is useless?
I'm not telling you that, no.
So what can I do with it then?
I got a question, if I may, John.
You can put a smaller structure that conforms to the setbacks,
Like, so
What, a
you're
smaller
talking a
tent?
smaller tent?
a smaller
Yeah.
tent.
What size?
So
I don't know,
you
but
have,
the
you
tent
have,
looks like it's bigger than what the garage footprint
Yeah,
was
if you
there.
come sit with me,
before.
I
It's
can-
about the same.
If you
Yeah.
come
It's
sit
about
with
the
me,
It's
same.
about the same,
if you
yeah.
come sit with me, I'll draw the setback envelope, and then you can see what size tank you're left with.
It
right.
kind of looks like somebody did, I don't know if you did, Mike?
That could be me.
Yeah, it's on
You want
here,
to take a
Mike.
look?
So you need 40 feet from the front?
With the ruler thing? Yeah.
You have 26 from the front. You have 21 from Kraft's front.
Yeah. I kind of put it right in the
So-
center of Crafts and Drewville.
And then your side is, you have 16, you need 20. So, yeah, Mike drew that out pretty nice. You're a landscaper.
Yes, sir.
Is there anything you can do to sort of hide that a little from those roads with
I can
some
plant shrubs,
greens
trees, absolutely.
where no one really sees it?
I can plant some shrubs that grow.
Some giant arborvitaes.
Yeah. Big
It looks
giants,
like a
they're
lot of-
called. They sell them right down the street. I mean, by the time we're done, it's gonna cost me more for the variance and the shrubbery for the tent, but I still need something to put my
Right.
stuff away in,
I mean,
so
yeah.
that
The tent is, what is that color called?
it's gray.
It's gray.
Because it looks blue, but it
No.
may be gray.
No,
It's
it's gray.
To
Yeah.
match the house, kind of.
So the tent doesn't fit all of your stuff.
Well, it's 24 by 24. I can put 2 trucks in there, all my mowers and all my stuff. I can't put my dump trailer in there. No, I can't fit every single thing, but no. I don't want to put my dump trailer in there. I want to put my mowers, my trucks.
So is that a
You're-
commercial business that you're running out of the property?
Yes.
I have a business just like everybody else is doing in this town. Just like the tile guy right around the corner, I could take pictures of
Oh, I
multiple
mean,
people.
he's not in front of us. You are.
Well, you know,
So, Mike, we got a bigger problem here. If there's a business running out of here, this is a commercial property.
Yeah, you're allowed to park trucks, I mean, that's not a question, you're allowed to park the vehicles there.
Right.
Landscapers were excluded from the parking requirements, I believe, right? Isn't that what they did back in
yeah,
'80-something?
I don't
park
have no
trucks.
signage on my trucks. They're all portable signs.
Right, there's no signs on anything.
But you cannot just do what, you know, you can't just do what you want to do. It's trucks and
Right.
what's on your trucks is what you're supposed to have there.
There's nothing on
And
the
all I'm
trucks.
trying to do is park my stuff in a tent and have room to put my equipment when it snows and in the winter and stuff like
There is
that.
no signage, there's no signage on any of the trucks.
Permanent
Nothing.
signs.
But where does it stop? So you have this now, then you buy something else, you throw that on, then you throw something else on
There's
there.
no nothing else. I'm 20 years in business. I'm
All
not
we're
looking to buy
asking for
anything
is-
else.
All we're asking for is a variance for the garage.
A
for the-
garage that we
for the,
already had on the property
for
where
the
my stuff
tent.
was already
That's
kept.
it.
The
All right,
house,
well,
the barn burned
you
down
heard,
because
you
the
heard what the
town-
opposition said about a tent, and doesn't, you know, looks like a commercial property
could-
when it's in a residential neighborhood. So you got to consider their thoughts and what's happening here.
No,
It's not in character. If there was a structure, a wood structure, a barn, which was existing, it would be a different character. It'd be a residential look.
Mm-hmm. I
Right now, it's a
understand that.
commercial property. It's a
Well,
commercial looking piece of
The barn
property.
got knocked down due to the town not taking down the tree and falling across the wires and setting my barn on fire. A tree that we were complaining to the town about for 2 years.
Right.
Same tree
All right, well,
fell
that-
down across
that's-
our wires.
That's
And
not an
now
issue
we're
for this
before-
board. That's more of
I
a
know.
civil issue with
So, wait,
somebody
let me
else.
let me just say this. So, what if we just, can we come to some kind of agreement that if we put some shrubbery up there and we kind of block it and make it look nicer and,
That doesn't work for me, but I'm one vote.
They'd have to be tall enough, in my opinion. They'd have to be enough to
Well-
hide this
Absolutely.
shed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm one board member too, but I mean, I
It's
don't know if
kind of
you guys
easy
feel
with the
the same
trees
way.
because it's set down. So the point where I would be planting the trees is up at least
What's the height?
to
About
the top.
8 feet?
Oh, higher than that.
no, he's talking about the tent.
What's the height of the tent?
Oh, the
According
tent
to
is
that picture.
15 feet high.
Yeah, it looks like it's got a high
But it's
ridge.
set down in an area where it's set in an embankment where I would cover trees and the trees would be over the top of it.
But right now, you can't even fit all your stuff in the tent, so what's the point?
No, I could fit all my stuff in the tent. You're talking about the dump trailer. You keep coming back to this. I have
And
my-
a snowplow?
But I don't want to put it in there, right? I don't want to. I don't have to put my snowplow in there. My snowplow is for personal use. I have a lawn maintenance business.
Well, if it's for your personal use, why isn't it on the other side of the road?
Because I don't have room on my property.
Because it's where I want to keep it. There's no law
If
against
it
me
was
keeping
on
my plow there.
If it was
Don't
on
want
my
that.
property,
A
it
neighbor
would still
can-
be sitting in
a
the
regular house
driveway.
can have
I
a
don't
plow
have
sitting in
a
there.
garage on my driveway. What's
Parking-
the difference?
Prevent them from
Parking
having that.
vehicles is not running a business.
Right.
Okay, just to be clear, that's the one thing, that is not, that's what was given away with the zoning code back when they said that you can only park one commercial vehicle. They said except landscapers, so that was
Okay.
given away. The other stuff, I mean, if somebody has a plow outside in their yard,
They're
we
allowed
don't typically rate that as a violation. I'm not saying that
If the
it's up to
plow-
you.
Yeah, if the
It's
plow
up to-
is
hang on.
on my property.
It's up to the board
you
to
know, on the
decide.
other property, it would still be in the driveway. I don't have a garage.
How do you access that tent? From Drewville Road
No,
or
the
from
tent is
Crafts?
Actually, you can
Yes,
access.
from Drewville
Yeah.
Road.
Do you,
yes.
can you access it from Crafts Road?
No.
I could walk down there.
You can walk.
So if you planted arborvitae's, something green, around three sides facing the point of where
actually-
Crafts meets Drewville, right? Then you access the tent from the opposite side of the property. Here it's a V, right? Property is a V. The tent is accessible from the wide end or the pointy end?
No. No.
The property's like a rectangle like this. So if Crafts Road is here and Drewville is here, the barn is in the middle of it.
Yeah, we see that.
It looks like a triangle, but it's really not a triangle,
Well,
but I guess.
I'm using with the two roads coming together.
Yeah. Yeah, so you enter.
You're accessible from the larger side?
No, the other side.
From this side?
Yeah. On the
So-
back of that side you were just pointing is my neighbor's garage. It butts back to back. The back is not really the issue. It butts up right against his garage. There's a garage right on the side from the neighbor, so the back is no
Right,
issue.
And then there's like a rock wall.
So John, you would want arborvitae's on at least three sides of this?
Yes.
right?
It would
And,
be
you
two-
know-
you can't plant them on the back.
Because it butts up against the.
And
it's
there's
just a rock
rocks, there's
wall,
in the water.
And then another garage.
Water goes down, yeah. The
In other
two
words,
sides.
if you were on Crafts Road, and we were passing through, going on this right to left, I don't see a northern arrow, or on Drewville, either way, I look in, I don't see that tent, right?
If you planted arborvitae's.
Either way,
On each side. not
Crafts, Drewville.
Yeah, if I planted the arborvitae's or put a fence, you wouldn't see it,
No, not a fence.
Not a fence.
okay?
Yeah, it's a living fence.
Yeah.
I'll put arborvitae's, big giants.
Yeah, they'd have to start off at least 8 to 10 feet. 3
Well-
feet on center, okay? And then cover that, so you don't see it.
Yeah, they come 7 to 8, so that's doable.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm
But the
just talking
back,
out
just
loud.
so you understand, like, here's Crafts Road, row of trees here, here's Drewville Road, row of trees here. The back, there's like rocks that go down, so that all the water that comes down goes in between the two neighbors, and there's like a rock thing, so it'd be really hard to plant the arborvitae's there if I had to
So you're
stick.
saying
And you
over
wouldn't
here
see
is
it.
hard to
Yes.
plant?
Because the other guys, my neighbor's garage is like right here, there's maybe
Yeah.
15 feet between us.
Which is where the big problem is on Crafts Road. That's where you look down and you see it all.
No, that's not the-
That's,
the-
we're talking about the
Crafts.
back of it,
Yeah.
not the side of it.
Crafts Road goes up, that's the right side of the
Yeah.
tent. Drewville continues down, that's the left side of the tent.
Right.
The front
We're
of the
talking
tent,
about the back.
how do you screen the front of the tent? You'd have to put some arborvitae's, probably a good distance in front, so it's still hiding the front
It
of the
would
tent.
conceal it because
I
it's.
probably wouldn't need it for the back,
Right.
because if you said your neighbors,
Too
and
close.
can't see it, but the neighbor's garage is right back to back with you.
Right
then
there.
I would say, leave that side alone.
That's the old barn that burned
That's the
down.
old barn.
What's there right now?
Nothing.
So we would plant them there too.
Just the remnants. Well, I can plant the board there, but there's concrete there from what they had on the ground
Oh, I
floor.
got you.
Right.
Okay.
Like their old concrete, like foundation. Slab.
It's a slip.
So on either side of that
Jack,
slab.
I would say like this, all along each side, left side, and about 15 feet in front in a zigzag pattern, so you don't see it coming this way, but you can still get to your tent.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? If you're 10,
Yeah.
15 feet out from the entry of your tent, which there's a picture of, you still would have enough room to get into it, right?
Yep.
So
Right there's
from
the
this,
front. Yep.
probably about 10, 15 feet, 8-foot tall arborvitae's around the 3 sides, not the back side because it's abutting to your neighbors.
And just so we're clear, on the Crafts Road side where I'll be planting them, it is already up.
I got you,
So
but,
I don't
but
even think I
you
would
don't want to be
leave-
able to see, all right,
Yeah.
here's the
Yeah,
top
right.
of your tent, the
Right.
property rolls
But, you know,
up.
they're gonna,
You
over
wanna
the
be
years,
certain
it'll be even better.
It'll be
The whole idea is to hide the tent, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Is what
on
I'm
the
getting
one
at.
side, the 8-foot will in effect be like 12-footers, because like I said, it's up already.
What's the warranty on that tent?
5 years.
What are you gonna do then?
Come before the board again.
I find it hard to believe that you couldn't get insurance for this thing, but that's whatever.
We had insurance, but the price to replace it was quadruple. I don't think you realize how much plywood was, you know.
Back
you
then.
couldn't build, you can't
It
build
was
that,
right
you
after,
can't
it was
build,
right around COVID.
you can't build a barn for $80,000.
I'm not going to belabor it. Anybody else on the
You
board?
barely
have
put
questions?
foundation in for 80,000.
Anybody in the audience wish to be heard on this application? All right, we're going to close the public hearing.
Thank you,
Do I have a
guys.
motion?
Motion to close the
Do I have
public
a
hearing.
second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you for getting me home in time for
Thank
the
you.
debate. Appreciate it.
That makes somebody. Application number 7, Michelle and Henry Murphy, for a variation of section 156-15, seeking an area variance for permission to retain existing shed, 12 by 20. The property is located at 286 Sheer Hill Road, Mahopac, tax map 66.11-2-2. Code requires or allows 15 foot to the side. What's provided is 3.2, and a variance being sought of 11.8. And the other side, the rear, the code requires 15. What's provided is 11.4. A variance of 3.6 is required. State your name and address for the record.
Henry Murphy, 286 Sheer Hill Road.
Raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so
I
help
do.
you God.
I do.
All right, bring us through your situation.
When we bought the house in 1996, there was an existing shed in that location. I replaced the shed and made it bigger. It used to back right against the neighbor's shed that was on that property, and it's been there for 28 years now.
So, in the same footprint?
In the same footprint. It was smaller when we bought the house.
All right, there's no other property you can buy to bring it into conformance, right?
No.
Your neighbors to the left of you, it affects mostly any concerns or issues on their part?
No, in fact, I
spoken
think
to
they
them?
sent a letter to the board. Ralph
yes, I
and
believe
Francois
we did.
sent
Yeah,
out.
we got a letter in support.
Support,
Yes,
okay.
you do.
Here,
Um,
yeah, Santillas support.
Francois Santillis.
Francois. I mean, it's a good-looking shed, so you did a good job rebuilding it 20-some-odd years ago. And it hides the generator on that side, which helps, right?
Yeah.
Board members, Will, anything? Julie?
Nothing.
No.
So,
Is this a side, I mean, shouldn't it be rear? I mean, it doesn't make a difference, it's still 15 feet because of the way Sheer Hill curves there. But it's nothing, doesn't make, just for the letter, no questions.
Nothing.
Good,
I'm
John?
good. Right, that's,
Anybody in the public have any input or questions on this application? I'll look for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, sir.
thank you, yeah, you're good.
Thank you.
Application Gabriel Lamana for variation of section 15615, seeking variance for permission to build an addition to an existing non-conforming building on a non-conforming lot. Property is located at 255 New York State Road, 6 Mahopac, and known as tax map 86.7-1-37. There's way too many of these to read, so in the interest of time, I know everyone's got their applications or notice has been sent to neighbors. so-
John, they're in for a site plan approval, and as part of the site plan approval, everything came into effect, so we
Right,
have to.
of course.
That's why the list is so big, and it's a pie shape piece, so.
All
It's
right.
what? Pie shape? Oh, yeah.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, how are you?
Just, you can put the mic back in, or you can grab it and handhold, whatever you prefer to do. Yeah, just should slip in, no?
Okay.
Just turn,
Point it up.
yeah, point it up to you, so it picks up your mouth.
There you go.
How's
All
that?
right, state your name and address.
Michael Picarello, architect, 345 Kear Street.
All right, raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I will.
All right, bring us through your application.
Okay.
Gabriel owns a property right on Route 6 where it's a pie-shaped, as Michael stated. It's a non-conforming lot, as you can see on the site plan. So we have several non-conforming conditions for the existing building. Gabriel desires to put an addition onto the building. The building currently does auto body. So we're looking for a single-story addition to that building to be in line with the existing, flush with the existing front. And then we need a bunch of zoning variances, some of which are created because of the non-conforming lot. We have the lot depth, obviously. The existing front yard is already non-conforming. The side yard and the rear yard is also non-conforming. So again, we're looking for these variances because if the property was a normal shape, we probably would not need any of these variances, but because of the odd shape of the property, so.
So the front building line is going to remain the same? continuing
Correct.
Across, right? So
Yes.
you're keeping some consistency there.
Correct, and we think with the way that the new building's going to, the new addition's going to look, and some of the improvements we're going to make to the existing building, it's going to look great for the surrounding properties. Although the surrounding area is it's a gas station across the street, there is a commercial building to the building's east side. It's commercial, it's a commercial area.
And your client cleaned up the property considerably?
Absolutely,
since you
yes.
bought it. Like
Correct.
day and
He's
night.
been actively trying to keep
that. So you know they're going to maintain a good
Correct.
presence here. There's no property that can be bought to bring it into conformance, right?
No,
landlocked there, so.
it's basically impossible. In fact, the space that the addition is going to occupy is essentially almost like a.
And looking at the plans, quick question, I didn't see any bathroom or any provisions for.
There is no plans to add any new facilities to it. I mean, this is just really to make sure that Gabriel has the room inside to work on cars. The number of employees actually is not going to increase from what the existing staff for this building would be.
So is there a spray booth or something that's going to be part of this?
Sorry?
A spray booth?
There will be no spray booth in this
Okay,
addition.
it's existing in the existing
Correct.
building.
The
okay.
addition essentially is a box. It's really a box that
Right.
keeps the cars off of keeps the cars inside.
Right.
Because obviously we don't want cars outside. So this is really what this will
Which is really a
contain.
cleaner look for this type of business.
Correct. I can show you what it's going to look like if you want to see.
No, we got it. I think most of the board members have seen it, so.
Okay.
I'll open it to the board for questions.
Looks good. No questions.
No questions?
Nope.
No questions. All right, any input from the public on this application? I'll look for a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
I failed to mention, you guys can stick around while we adjudicate later to get results, or go back and watch it on TV, or you can call the building department tomorrow and see what the results are. All right, application number 9, Anthony Canaridio. Sorry if I butchered your name. Canariato. And I'm half Italian, sorry. For a variance of section 15615, seeking an area variance for permission to construct addition. Property is located 77 Bloomer Road, Mahopac, tax map 75.2-1-40. The code requires or allows a 20-foot side. What's provided is 13 feet, so you need a variance of 7 feet. State your name and address for the record.
Anthony Canariato, 77 Bloomer Road.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I will.
All right, bring us through your application.
We're adding a one-car garage next to my existing garage to actually face the driveway. We use the garages for basically storage and bikes and things like that. We're just making a family room for my kids. I have 4 kids, ages 17 to 8, and we live in a split-level house. So if you ever live in a split-level house, the kitchen, everything's kind of open to each other. So even if we're upstairs and they have friends over, you hear them. When my son's playing downstairs a video game, you hear them through the house. This would separate it, 2 doors. That's really it. It's going to be a couple steps down.
So basically, it's a one-car garage,
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
and you're going from a 2-car garage.
Yeah.
And you enter differently, right? With the new design?
Oh, yeah, there'll be a door,
Yeah.
well, we don't have, right now, the only way we can get into the garage if you
On the
open the
side,
garage.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a rear or side entrance to the garage now. We'll be adding in the back of it, it'll be a a door with a mudroom and another door going into the garage, and then you'll have a door going into the new space.
Yeah, it looks good.
All right, so there's no property you can buy to bring it into conformance, right? You're landlocked, there's no property you can purchase.
No, no property I could purchase. Split-level houses, 2/3 of our basement is crawl space, and the one part where we have our laundry and things is about 6.5 feet ceiling,
it's
so you
tight.
can't really do anything down there either. It's not a big,
What, your septic's not affecting the septic, that's in the back, right?
the septic's in the front on the, towards the left side of the house. Like,
Oh,
if you're
it's
looking
down-
at it, it's on the
down
right
low,
side, yeah.
okay.
It's not, nowhere, it's on the actually opposite side of the property, the septic.
Okay. All right, board members, any questions?
No questions.
Rose, come
No
on.
questions? Oh,
No questions.
Joe? Well,
No questions.
okay. Any input from the public on this application, sir?
Vincent Perillo, 5 Carriage Court, Mahopac.
Raise your right hand, sir.
Sorry.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I will. Just calling 31-year resident.
Just speak into the mic, please.
31-year resident of Mahopac. Obviously live right next to Anthony. I'm not here to sabotage his plans. Let me get that out of the way. Just want to make sure it's within the rulings of the 20 feet. We did exactly the same thing they did. We put a 2-car garage. We had the space, and I'm like 20 feet off the property line now, or more, actually, at 30, I think.
Could you speak up a little bit, sir?
I'm sorry, 30 feet off the property line. Anthony's his property is on the corner. It's a cul-de-sac coming, he's on the corner coming up from Bloomer. Most of the property he has a massive front yard. I'm jealous of that. You know, he has it all the way across. The problem is that it's narrow, to the left of the house, the driveway going up. And so there's not much space there. So 7 feet doesn't sound like a lot, but I know from one of your points with granting a variance, and you said as long as there's no alternative to it. So it's not like that's just the house or the bedrooms and they can't come, they have no place to go. It's in a garage now, and like you said, they're gonna be turning it into a family room. It's a big, it's 20 by 20, so there's a section of, if I can bring it up, it's easier to show you. Like, all the houses are the same.
Grab the hand mic.
Yeah, just grab the hand mic.
First time doing this, sorry.
No worries.
This is like, well, obviously how the house is.
I have that photo right here.
Oh, you do? Okay,
Yeah.
great. So basically,
Have you seen the plans?
Yes. That was the other thing. I went to the building department just to say, hey, I just want to make sure.
Speak to the mic.
Just want to make.
Being recorded for minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's gotta
Just
be
want to
clear.
make sure that it's, within the distance. And upon going to the building department, they looked at the plans and the artist rendering from the contractor and said something's off with the survey and the plan. So it didn't jive. So that got me to say, well, let's look at it.
That gets all vetted by Mike and his department.
That's
before
who
it
I
comes
spoke
us,
to.
So it should be.
Okay. So
legit.
he said there was a difference
I got to
there.
tell you, it's not out of character for houses of this style and this neighborhood. There's been many, I've been on the board 20-plus years, so
Mhm.
this is not out of character. There's been I think people right across the street or close by have done this just actually recently. And
Okay.
there's probably like 3 or 4 in this whole neighborhood that have done it in my tenure. So
Okay.
it's not out of character. It's, it's
Well,
not an
I-
extreme variance. If it was like right on your property line, it'd be a different
Well,
story.
I just want, this is my property line, where it is, and it's 1.5 feet off the corner of his driveway. So when they're saying it's only 13 feet, I'd like to see the building department, somebody come out just to measure and show it to see if
All right,
it's that.
and then there's nothing happened with the driveway. The driveway is going to remain at the same spot.
No, I know
right?
that, but that's going from there, if they're saying if it's 13 feet. I think it's going to be much more than that. And when you were saying that no alternative, they have an alternative because this is like 6, 7 feet of fitting in a garage. So why can't they go into that space, but they want to take up the other space? So, I mean, there is an alternative, and they're
Sometimes-
choosing not to do that alternative.
Sometimes there's economics involved, but then you'd also probably need a
that's-
front variance as well.
Yeah, well, that's something, when you're going into buying the house, you should see that, hey, I might have some limitations. I mean, we bought our house because of that space, and now it's infringing upon there and could affect us selling the house down the road, where people say, oh, look at this garage, it's right on top of us. And then, like this is.
He's only asking for a 7-foot variance.
I understand that. That's what I'm saying. If you know, you guys don't live next door. You said 7 doesn't sound like a lot. I agree.
Right.
But in the property section, it is a lot when you see it, you know, going down the line. This is another picture from the backyard going right down, right? That distance is not really a lot. I mean, well, this way I can't see it, sorry. But another thing was the pool, right? The pool's 9 foot 10 inches, okay? It's supposed to be 20 feet. No variance was ever done. No permit was done on the deck. So it's just frustrating
Is the
because.
deck attached to that pool?
Yes.
Is what you're telling us?
Yes.
If that's the case, we should hold it over.
Yeah, Mike's gonna have to.
We gotta get it in conformity.
I mean, you know, so it's, to me, I mean, hey, I love Anthony, I love his family, even though he might not think that. It's just that it's a pattern. You're not complying here, and then you're asking to come into, technically not my property, but the zone there, when there is an alternative to do something different.
And you're the next house up on the left-hand side, so that, you're part of a cul-de-sac, right? So that's kind of what makes it irregular, in essence? Your
Yeah, but
house actually is
that's-
behind his house to a certain degree, from what I can tell.
His house is in front of my house.
Right.
Yeah.
Well-
His house is in front of my house.
Depends on the chicken or the egg, but.
Well,
you know,
that's why.
Because of this cul-de-sac, every house is gonna be not your cookie cutter, boom, 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 square
because
linear.
you're gonna
Everything's
have
curved, you're dealing with a radius.
Exactly. But
I
the
mean-
thing that you said was, is there an alternative? There is an
Can he put it
alternative.
on the other side of the house? Not really, because the kitchen's
No,
probably
he doesn't,
there,
he
you know what
doesn't
I'm
have the
saying?
room there anyway, because he's got probably
Septic,
only
everything.
10, 15 feet to the property line that way. But the thing is,
No,
if,
not for anything too, this is a one-car garage. If he was doing
No,
a two-car
I-
garage, he wouldn't have the room for it, he'd be.
I understand, but the one-car garage is still outside of that property.
Just one thing to think about, so he's only gonna have a one-car garage and it's not gonna be facing your house, like these are here. So every time he pulls out, with the new use, he's not gonna be shining lights
Yeah,
at
that's
your
an improvement.
driveway
Something
or
good to
anything,
consider.
so
Good point, Will.
it might actually benefit you a little bit. Just, I know it's not
It's-
anything to do with this, but
It's
might.
still where they
might
park 3 cars now.
make it a little
It's okay,
better.
it's 3 cars, you see it, it's open. You know, you can see the street, you can see everything. Now you're gonna have a fixed building there. So it's just, I'm not, he should do it. I'm just saying, bring it in a little bit into the existing garage. I mean, it can be cut fine, it matches the line of the house, and just do it, just like we did it. But just move it over where it's not coming out to that property, like the pool. So it's,
All right, well, we're gonna hold this over because it sounds like there's a bigger issue there, of needing more variances. So my suggestion would be you getting together with your neighbor and seeing if you can come together before we come back
Yeah,
in front of
'cause
this
I'm
board.
fine with-
To design
I'm
something.
fine
Just, you
with-
gotta address us, sir.
I'm
Stay
sorry.
with us.
I'm fine with.
Let him finish, and I'll let you come up.
I'm fine with getting together with Anthony and the contractor and say, how can we work this out where we're both happy
I
with
mean,
it?
That's in the spirit of Joe Gervin, right?
Gives you a month to work on it.
Well, yeah.
Come up to a nice agreement there.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you know, it's just, we want to have that agreement. I wish with the pool, they had done that.
All right, well, it sounds like this is gonna have to come back, so there's gonna be some time. If you're done, I'm gonna give him an opportunity to come back up and speak.
I guess I am, yeah.
Okay, you have any other points to make? You good?
I think I am good. You
If he
didn't, no
lines
reason
it
to
up
see
the
my
way you
survey?
suggest, It's
No, I
only
can tell
gonna
from the-
gain you a foot.
I can't hear you.
If you line it up the way he suggests, the way you suggest, it's only gonna get another foot. To me, it's not
What's gonna get
consequential. It's just, it's nothing.
No, but if there's a deck on a pool that wasn't there.
No, I'm
before-
talking about the garage. I haven't even touched the deck. I'm not going anywhere
I'm
near the
sorry,
deck yet.
what was your thing about that?
No, I'm saying, because you're proposing to square it up here a little bit more. It's only a difference of a foot looking at the drawing. So whether it's here or here, it's really
No, not if
inconsequential.
this isn't a foot, the picture doesn't do it justice, it's about 6, 7 feet. So, I mean, that's what they're basically asking for, so if you cut it, if you start it. It's 2 feet. It's not 2 feet. If you start
The
it.
drawing says it's 2 feet, sir.
It's wrong. I have the same house.
Okay.
From the
It's,
front yard? From
So-
the same
so
front
if
line
you-
is
if
being
you- If you
used.
cut down this way and start, do the garage this way, and this line, then you're fine, he has that room. That's all it is.
It's,
All right,
I'm
so.
one board member, I didn't see.
You made your point, sir.
Yeah, all
So
I
we have
ask is
nothing
for maybe
further.
the building
I'm gonna give him an
department
opportunity
to
to come
come
up
out
and
and we can
respond.
come to an agreement.
And then we're gonna have to hold this over because of being
The
investigated.
pool, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Sir, come
Thank you.
back up.
If I could just say, I have the permit for the pool right here that was issued to me.
No,
That's
I
one.
understand.
Yeah, the pool is.
If you added a deck to the pool, the setback changes.
Yeah.
Is there a deck on the pool?
Yes. But wait, what do you mean, where does it change? To what? That's in the
change-
middle of the yard, though.
It changes the setback of the pool. You did
No,
not.
but the house, though, I don't
You
understand.
did- You have a pool deck?
Yes, but the pool's in the
But
middle of
did
the
you get a
yard.
permit for the pool deck?
No, not the deck.
Thank you. So when you
That's the problem.
change a pool, if you have just the pool sitting there, the setback is 10 and 10.
Yes.
When you add a deck to the pool, the entire thing has to be now whatever the accessory setback is.
What's the accessory setback for that?
15 and 15, I believe, on your lot. How big's your lot? Point-
A little more than a half acre.
Your deck is
15,
attached to
50.
the house?
No.
No.
It's a pool.
It's attached to
It's
the pool.
attached to
I
the
mean,
Pool. It's accessory use.
It becomes accessory, so just the pool
it's
is
just-
10 and 10. When you add a deck,
Okay.
You have an accessory use.
Well, I understand that. I know we're not here for that, which, now, the other part of it is, he wants me to, if I try to move the garage into my existing garage now, right? That's an existing wall already, okay? I have to open up the garage, I have to add an existing whole entire wall, whatever how many feet inside the property. I have a natural wall, once I take those garage doors out, and add the garage next to it. Like, it's not a feasible option. These are the only option I have for this. And
So
if-
economically, you're talking, right?
Yes, and also, if you look at his house, he is on Carriage Court, I'm on Bloomer Road. Why he has some type of entitlement to Bloomer Road view of a 180-degree view, I don't understand, where he's worried about my garage being there. It doesn't come out, I can show you an aerial view of what
Yeah,
the
we've seen it.
properties
We
look
have a
like.
picture of it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know why it's a burden on him. He did the same thing. His is just a one straight across, whatever. It looks just like they just dragged out the house. It's not very appealing, trust me. Ours, it's one-car garage, it's gabled, it's gonna look nice, you have the plans there. Like, I have 4 kids.
Yeah, we see it.
I'm a captain in the fire department, the FDNY. Me and my wife both work hard, and we're just trying to make a better space for our kids as they get older. That's all.
We
Okay.
got it. Unfortunately, you gotta come back next month, so you're gonna have to get your paperwork into
Hold
Mike.
it over.
Mike, can he meet with you afterwards?
Yeah, come see me tomorrow, well, not tomorrow morning, anytime after tomorrow morning. Or stick around for a minute, I'll tell you after.
Sure, thank you, Mike.
Yeah, because
All
we
right.
have to amend the application, that's all.
Well, no, it's gonna be a new application.
It's not a separate, wouldn't that be a separate thing, though?
We can't give you the variance unless everything is in conformity, so you have to bring everything into conformity. That's the problem.
It's not gonna be a whole new application, you'll have to amend your application, that's
Right.
where the cost.
You
Right.
just add it to the existing one, because you
Okay.
can't grant one if there's one that's not.
Okay,
That's it, that's the only reason.
fine. Thank you.
All right, I'll look for a motion to close the public hearing.
No,
Oh,
motion to
I'm
hold
sorry,
it
look for a
over.
motion to hold this over. My bad.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
What was that? Yeah, he's got to advertise for another
Yeah.
variance. Or do we want to redo a whole new application?
I'm gonna hold it over, right?
Amend the application to include the pool.
But then you have to
and pool deck.
re-advertise.
And re-advertise.
Right.
So, yeah, it's just an
That's why
amendment.
I keep, that's
It's
why
an
I'm keeping the
amendment.
public hearing open.
No, I could close the public hearing for this evening.
No, but just, keep it open. We have to keep it open because it has to be amended. We'd have to reopen it otherwise.
Yes, how do
Keep
we,
it open as a holdover.
Hold it over.
Yeah, hold it over.
we held it over.
That's what you said, John.
Yes, I'll make it a motion to hold it over.
Right, we
So
second
moved.
it. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
There we go. We're
All right,
getting
last application for Dane Gomes for variation of section 156-15, seeking an area variance for permission to retain shed in front yard. The property is located at 75 Brook Street, Mahopac, New York, tax map 53.19-1-19. Code requires or allows 25 feet. What's provided is 17 feet. A variance of 8 feet is required. And for the side setback, code requires, 1 foot is or requires 15, 1 foot's provided, 14-foot variance is being sought. Good evening.
Good evening. Dane Gomes, 75 Brook Street, Mahopac.
Raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bought the house about 5 years ago, and upon purchase, the shed was moved beside the dwelling, and I put it back to the original position after that because I didn't know any different. And in December, I got the citation that it needs to be moved. So I'm now applying for a variance to put it back where it was for many, many years before I bought the house.
So it was closer to the house and moved to the location? Yeah, it's just,
Yeah,
I was
to get
curious
the
about that
permit.
because your arrow
Goes to the
is
front.
opposite. You should have put the arrow, put it the other way.
Yeah, to get the permit, when they were purchasing the house, they had to move the shed to get the permit. They got the permit, moved the shed, and then when he purchased it, slid it right back to where it was because it made sense to him.
All right, I mean, we usually don't look very kindly on sheds in the front of the property. However, you're at, not even a cul-de-sac, you're at a dead end with, doesn't look like anything could ever be built past that dead end. I don't know whose property that is. Is that buildable?
Might be a buildable lot. Who owns that property next to you?
I don't remember the last name.
It's a person, though.
Sorry?
It's that vacant land is
so I guess he's
is
gonna
an.
be
Yeah, all right, hold off. Okay, so, yeah, I mean, typically, a shed for the front yard is not desirable. Extreme situations, we've granted it because of rocky slopes or, you know, a bigger septic system or something like that. But Mike, you're saying that he was given a permit?
I think it was Purdy owned it before you, am I correct? Purdy came in to get a building permit, we told them they needed a variance, so they moved the shed and got a building permit with the shed in the right spot.
What is the right spot, Mike?
40 feet off the front, and I think it was 15 off the side back then.
But it wasn't in the front yard, it was set.
It met the setback, I don't know what the
Oh,
thing
so it met the
was.
setbacks, okay.
That's all, so they met the setbacks, put it where it belonged. Mr. Dane? Oh, I'm sorry, Gomes bought the property, and when he bought the property, he put it back to where it was because it made sense.
That's a tough one. That's a self-creation.
Why?
I don't think they had the-
Again, as my statement clearly said, the shed was there for many years according to the neighbors before I bought it.
But why do you?
So upon sale.
But you moved it?
I didn't know any better.
Okay.
So be upfront.
Yeah, just speak to the mic. Sorry.
I did not know any better, so I put it back because it abutting the dwelling was just, it prevented the folks from filling the gas tank, and it just didn't work out.
All right, I think we're probably gonna have to ask you to bring it back so it
Very well.
conforms. You know what I mean? So, I mean, we'll vote on it officially, but just what I'm reading.
How did you
from
move
what I
it?
understand it.
4-foot pipe. Just,
Oh, you slid it off, slid it around.
Okay.
It's easy to move, shit. I've done it.
All right, I mean, we could dismiss without prejudice, but, you know, no, actually, we'd have to mandate that he returns it back to conformance. Right, Mike?
Let me just deny the variance.
Either one
Well,
is
just
a
deny it.
denial or.
You just deny it, yeah, that's all.
Should we listen to the person in the audience?
Yeah, any comments from the board?
No, I think.
No,
You
no
guys good?
comments.
Julie, Will? No. All right, anybody in the public wish to be heard? Of course, come on up.
No, go ahead. Just so it gets on the record.
State your name and address, please.
John Astrologo, 38 Ridgeview Avenue,
but me and my son and my wife own 480 Long Pond Road.
You do, okay. Just raise your right hand.
Yep.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so
I
help
do.
you God. Thanks, John.
I contacted Mike about getting a driveway cut in there, and he directed me to go talk to Mike Stern, and I'm in the process of, we're getting a driveway back, try to get in there to access that part of the property, because there's some trees that are dead that's got to be taken down. I don't think I'd be here, but 75 Brook Street had some concerns about limbs and stuff hanging over the shed. And I took care of that when he first moved in. And then there was some other issues of the trees on the property. One in a big storm came down, hit his gutter or something like that. Contacted the town. Mike went out there that morning and then contacted me that afternoon. This year, removed more trees, that was endangered, so just like to get access to that property and, not get that shed away from there so I don't have to be too concerned about, the
Okay.
trees and stuff like that.
Sounds good.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, John. Sir?
I thought the conversations were, raise your right hand, tell the truth. I had to call state assembly people to have the dead trees removed. That night, when that tree fell, I was in my family room. Years I've been asking for the dead trees to be moved. He lies, because he didn't remove any trees. I'll move
Okay.
the shed,
All right,
but he
look-
lies.
Look, it's not an issue for this board right now. This is not an issue for the board.
I got it,
right
sir.
now,
I'll
so-
remove the shed.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to say something.
John, let's not let it.
2020, when he moved in, I had a tree company come in, Smoothiest Tree Company came in there and moved the tree. I'm telling you.
All right,
Now,
John.
y'all get,
Don't worry
y'all
about
get
it.
pissed off.
It's not an issue for the board,
Nothing
so.
to do with this. The tree has nothing to do
I
with this.
understand.
We got it.
The shed was
Please.
not there, they moved, they got that.
We got
they
it.
put right
We got
back.
it. We got it.
Cost
We
us
got it.
$4,000 already on trimming trees.
I hear you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
Motion to close public hearing.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. No further input from the public on any application at this point as we adjudicate. Oofa. All right, application number 1, Robert Altero. Do
Motion
I have
to
a
grant.
motion? Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Application number 2, 2 Clark Place LLC. Do I have a motion?
Motion to grant?
Any discussion?
Second, well, we have to go through the secret, don't we? Because it's a use. So we have to, sorry, Steve. Do you have one?
I don't have one handy.
Do we got a secret for this? Okay, take us through it. Sorry, man.
Yeah, no, thanks for reminding me. Greg, just speak into the mic because Dawn's going to strangle you if she can't hear you.
Not overly concerned. As odd as that may sound to
We're
you.
punch drunk tonight.
All right, so there's going to be a series of questions that are in part 2 of the short form EAF. Okay, and your answer is no or small impact or moderate to large to
Got
each
it.
one or the other, okay?
Okay.
Will the proposed action create a material conflict with the adopted land use or planning regulations?
No.
No.
Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of land?
No.
Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community?
No.
No.
Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a CEA, critical environmental area?
No.
Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway?
No.
Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonable available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities?
No.
No.
Will the proposed action impact existing public-private water supplies or public-private wastewater treatment utilities?
No.
Will the proposed action impair the quality, the character or quality of the important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources?
No.
Will the proposed action result in adverse change to natural resources, e.g. wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, and fauna?
No.
No.
Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems?
No.
Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health?
No.
No.
All right, based on your answers, you can entertain a motion to adopt a negative declaration with respect to secret on this.
I'll make a motion for a negative declaration in respect to sequence.
We have a second.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Okay.
now you can act on the application.
Now we can do the use variance.
All right, so I'll look for a motion on the use
I
variance.
think, yeah, Rose, do it again.
Motion to grant?
And second by?
Second for discussion, just real quick, I just want to go over it. So, incapable of return, he proved it, property is unique, it's been like that forever, it's not going to alter the essential character of the neighborhood, and it's definitely not self-created, so I think it meets all the criteria.
Okay.
I just want to make it record.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Just want to
granted.
cover ourselves.
Good call. Number 3 was held over. Number 4, Aaron Cass, I'll look for a motion.
Well, I think we have to deal with this in two, John. We have to deal with the, is it a, no, is that the right one? No, sorry. This is, never mind. It's lot subdivision.
This is a subdivision
I'm
with the variances.
conflating, sorry.
Somebody make a motion for discussion?
Motion to grant?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion?
Well, I think that in this case, the issues with drainage and water issues are not in our purview. They have to do with the health department, the ECB, the planning board, and when our specific task is to look at the code, and this is not out of character to the surrounding properties. So if we're just looking at these setback requirements, then we are just consistent with the surrounding properties in that one area.
And the 3 letters that we got were written by the same person, but in different order. I mean, someone was coached. It was all about just putting fodder out there. I mean, everybody had their house built the same way, taking away the environment, and I'm sure, like I said, less stringent controls of what we have today in modern technology and engineering.
Right.
So,
Right. And just looking at it from the area variance standpoint, right? I disagree with Mr. Smith. I think it is substantial because that's the way the code is written today. But
Right.
when you look at the weight test, everything else, it's definitely well within the character of the neighborhood. And so I don't have an issue with anything of the variance presented in front of me. So that's why I'm in support of it.
In agreement.
all right, do we have to have a roll call vote?
All right, it's fine.
John?
In favor.
For the motion?
For the motion.
Rose?
For the motion?
Silvio?
For the motion.
Julie?
For.
For. And I'm for the motion. All right, so it's granted.
Okay, 5 is held over.
5 is held over. Nanetti. Number 6, Negri, look for a motion.
Negri, this is,
So now
okay.
this is the two-parter, sorry.
Yeah.
We have to first determine if it's an expansion of a non-conforming use, because if it is, then we have to go through the use variance. So I'm going to make a motion that it's not an expansion of a non-conforming use.
So moved. I'm with that.
You're second that.
I'm seconding that notion.
Okay, any discussion?
I think that it is inconsistent with the use for the area as a residential property, as a residential area. I think it is inconsistent with commercial vehicles on the property, and they can't contain what already exists within the structure. So it could only get worse instead of better.
But Rose, what was there was a barn, which was basically the same use, right? I think in my opinion, the only soreness of this is seeing a tent, not an actual structure. I find it very hard to believe that an insurance company would not provide the same quantity of the value of what was there, but that's a certain situation. I think a feasible compromise is being met what John offered by putting some landscaping around this structure to make it conform to more of a residential look than a commercial type of look. So.
What
that-
happens when
that's-
those
I think-
trees fall down? What happens when the
Have to replace it.
deer eat it? What,
Deal with whether, the motion is second on whether it's an expansion.
Right,
And that hasn't been voted, correct?
right. No, it hasn't been voted on yet.
All right,
Oh, yeah,
we
we're
just
still-
open up for
we're still
discussion.
going
We're
through
having
it.
discussion.
But the discussion sounds like it's going to whether you're granting it, whether it's an expansion of the use,
Yeah.
of the non-conforming.
That's right, it's the
all.
non-conforming,
So you wanna-
expansion of the non-conforming.
Okay, so let's stay with one thing then.
Yeah, whether the board thinks that it is or isn't.
The vehicles, as Mike said, are allowed, landscaping vehicles.
Yep. The landscaping stuff is allowed.
And,
We're back to
plow.
the expansion of the use. though.
Use.
Yeah.
We gotta get that out of the way, and
Right.
then we can go to the other side.
Right.
All right. Any-
There's
So
no
what was
living space there.
before was a barn on a piece of land without a house.
That's right.
What's gonna be there now is a tent on a piece of land without a house.
It's not an
being used
expansion of a
as garage.
non-conforming use.
Yes.
That's
a simple one. It's not, it's not. At
That's
least
up to
mine.
you. I'm not-
All right, so the motion's on the table, it's been seconded. Let's do a roll call. We'll start here. John? You're for?
Or against. For the non-conforming.
This is
use,
for the
John.
non-conforming use.
You made the motion.
Yeah, it's not an expansion of the non-conforming.
So you're for the
use.
motion.
For the motion.
against?
4.
4.
4.
And I'm for it as well. So it stays alive. All right, so then we vote on the area variances.
This one's you, John.
Yeah, okay, so I move on the motion to grant the variance, provided that Mr. Nigri plants at least giant arborvitae species 8 feet high, no more than 3 feet on center, along the entire run of Crafts Road and the entire run of the Drewville Road,
Now, John,
with the entrance that you need just to get in there, okay?
all right, I also said along that short side, but
Yeah.
a certain distance away so they can get into.
Yeah, they have
the
to get
tent.
into, from Drewville Road.
So at least the 3 sides, right?
Well, there's a slab on the third side, so you know, it's sort of in the way. So you can plant up to the slab. It sort of comes right into it when you look at that
I'm okay
pie,
with the 2 sides.
okay? Looks, you know, you're gonna see it from the road.
All right, so did we get a second with
I'll
that
second.
condition?
I'll second that. I'll second John's condition.
Any further discussion?
So this is now an area variance,
Correct.
correct?
Yes.
Right.
All right, will an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties? I say yes. Can another method be used that does not require a variance but still allow for the benefit? If you put a different structure in, yeah.
40-foot setback, there's no way. and
Yeah, it's a tight
Yeah.
lot.
You
You
can
can
you get a pizza oven in there, you know?
That's the problem with the
You
area.
only go with the smaller setbacks when there's a house on the lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
They are stuck with the 40, and that's why it's
Sideways.
It's tight.
Is the proposed variance substantial?
Again,
No, not
considering the
necessarily.
shape and the size of the lot and the nature of it.
Will the proposed variance have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood?
You know,
My opinion is yes.
all right, someone down the street has a tent, but it's also not really a buildable lot per se, right? So, I mean,
There's a difference between those two properties. One has a house on it, one does not.
That's true.
And that's a permitted accessory structure.
Use.
Right, that's a permitted. This is not a permitted.
That's true.
Is the alleged difficulty self-created? The barn did burn down.
Right.
yeah.
However,
I mean, they didn't give us dollars and cents, but they did tell us, you know,
Well,
they
you don't have
can't
to.
afford to.
This man's gotta eat.
That's
Yeah.
not a use variance.
Yeah.
So, I mean, area variance.
guess we all have to vote our conscience on
Yeah.
this one, what we believe is the best.
Okay. Any further discussion? All right, we'll do a roll call vote down this way. Will, are you for the motion as with the conditions?
Just
It was
one
granted.
question.
It was granted.
For the motion.
With,
How do you,
with conditions for the
with,
plantings?
with plantings,
Yes.
how do you make sure that it's done?
Well, it's a condition that has to be, you know, controlled by the planning board,
They'll need a building permit and a
Building
certificate of occupancy won't get the CO until they do it.
They put the trees up. He
But
can't get the CO until the trees are up.
But 5 or 10 years from now, when those trees start dying or something happens, then you're in trouble.
He's taking a tent down for anyway, it's gonna collapse. Another storm like last night, he may be taking it down tomorrow. So that's the answer to the question. So he can't get the CO until he has the trees there.
And he has to maintain it for the life of the garage, or else he's in violation of the condition
And he
of
gets
the
cited.
variance.
Right, that's right.
That's your first one of these, huh?
So
Four.
For the motion.
He owns it for the life of it, you know?
Yeah.
It's just, whatever.
4.
4.
Uh,
Against?
John?
Yeah, I made the motion. I'm for the motion.
Okay. I'm for the motion, so it carries.
New applications, number 7, Murphy, look for a motion.
For the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? No. All in favor?
Aye.
And number 8, Gabriel Lamana, look for a motion.
That was, motion to grant.
Second.
Do I have a second?
Second.
No discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, application number
9.
9,
Held over.
held over.
That's the pool.
And application number 10, Dane Gomes.
Motion to deny?
Do we have a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Minutes.
Minutes, we're gonna hold off, well, go ahead.
You said, Greg, we can vote on it? As amended. Okay.
All right, so the minutes from April 25th, 2024.
Motion as amended, as stated by the applicant. It's a 2-family house, as stated by the applicant.
Okay, and that section, Dawn should be aware of it, so she'll amend it.
Yes.
So do I have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and minutes from May 30th, 2024. Look for a motion to accept.
To accept as amended, again, as stated by the applicant, it should be a garage. Garage should be listed as stated by the applicant.
Okay, so we have a second on that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion to adjourn the meeting?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thanks, everyone.
Julie got that one in. Good night, everybody.
Let's go debate.